Now the Lakers have their eyes on revenge, but the Saints have other things in mind as they look for their third consecutive victory. St. Francis and Roosevelt coming up next.
Look out. Enjoy it. With the steal, Anderson pushing it on the other end. They go along to Ruffin. It's in the air. On a dime to Ruffin. 20, 10, 5, touchdown. Aaron on the other end pushes it down just inside the line.
Welcome inside the Sullivan Center down on Pat Quigley Court. Terry Bonadonna here, and I'm joined by the head coach of the Fighting Saints, Steve Brooks. And Coach, we're getting ready for a big game today against Roosevelt. Let's look back first. It's been an odd couple of weeks. The team hasn't really been at full strength the last few games, and yet you've come out with a couple of 40-plus point victories. How do you feel about the way the team's been looking lately?
I'm really happy the way they've stepped up. Like you said, we weren't at full strength. We've had the flu. We've had injuries. We're not going to be at full strength today. We've got one that's going to try to play, but probably has strep, and then another one that went down with an ankle injury. Adriana Acosta went down with an ankle injury on Thursday, and we probably won't have her for the game today. So that's a disappointment for us, because Adriana is somebody that really gives us a lot coming off the bench. But it's what it is, and hopefully the kids will step up like they have.
You mentioned all of the maladies the team's battling with, and yet here you are 10-3 in conference, third place, and battling for really solid positioning in the conference tournament going forward next month. This is a tough stretch right now. Roosevelt today, Cardinal Stritch later this week, both home games. How do you feel about the way the team looks going into that stretch?
Well, I feel like, we prepared well yesterday. We had a feeling that Adriana may not be able to play. She wasn't able to practice, so hopefully we'll get ourselves ready to go. This game is going to be, we won at the buzzer at their place. They're a hard matchup for a lot of teams, especially if they're shooting the ball well. We're going to have to really work hard at keeping them in front of us and try to not let them get second and third shots, because they're relentless on the offensive board, even at their size.
You mentioned that buzzer victory back in November at their place. Does that add any extra intensity, you think, to this game? Even knowing that maybe Roosevelt's gunning for you a little bit, does that add anything to your preparation?
Well, I think our kids realize that, we struggled there. We didn't play well there. We played well enough to win the game at the end. I think both teams will be playing with a sense of urgency, because of the reason you just mentioned. I mean, I think right now we're talking about, we're at the end of January, we're moving into February, and February is conference tournament time, and so you're fighting for seeding and that kind of thing. And so I hope we play with a sense of urgency. I honestly believe they will come in and play with a sense of urgency and a little added motivation of the fact that they thought they had us beat, and we snuck one out.
Coach Steve Brooks, thanks for your time. Good luck today.
Thank you.
We've got tip-off coming up very shortly. St. Francis against Roosevelt. Stick with us here on the USF Sports Network.
Being an athlete at USF has shaped my years in college, has made me grow as a person. We're always trying to push each other, definitely on and off the field. I think it is all definitely just determination to do well and become somebody. It's something that I can always look back to and tell my kids someday that I had played a sport in college and the amount of work it takes, but it's all worth it.
Welcome back inside the Sullivan Center on the campus of the University of St. Francis. Terry Bonadonna back with you, and joined now by Mike Zaworski as we prepare just a couple of minutes away from St. Francis against Roosevelt. And I just talked about it with Coach Brooks. Mike, it's a fun game today because of what happened last time these two teams played. It was a little bit of a fluke win for St. Francis. They barely got out of there with the victory. That adds a little extra something to today.
You know, it really does. They won at the last second, 1 second left on the clock. They knocked down a three-pointer to win it. Exciting thing for you.
it also gives the other team a lot of reason to come back and knock you off here at home today for St. Francis. Roosevelt, a very good basketball team. They're very tough. A tough matchup for St. Francis, with St. Francis only going so deep in the bench and with Acosta being out for the game.
Yeah, let's talk about that injury a little bit. Kind of par for the course lately for St. Francis, not going at full strength. They missed Paige Gieske the last game. Kaylin Aylward was out the last few games before that. Kamari Jordan missed one. Asia McConaughey continues to be out, although she was not as much a active member of the team. She came in late in some games every now and then, but some key players have been out consistently, and today it's Adriana Acosta, and that's a big loss for a team that really needs her rebounding.
Yeah, you take 7 points and 6 rebounds out of the lineup, and that's a big loss for you, because she's that first player off the bench to really come in and kind of pick things up for St. Francis. Therefore, Gieske and Kennedy today really need to step it up coming in off the bench. Steve Brooks only goes so far into that bench with 7, maybe 8 players, so that one player being out is a big difference for him.
Today's game is big regardless, because these two teams are battling for position in the conference. A couple of 14-win squads. St. Francis 14-7, Roosevelt is 14-9, and the Saints right now sitting pretty in the conference, 10-3. They're a couple games off second place, Olivet Nazarene, but right now 2 games up on Judson for 4th place, and that's big too.
Yeah, what's really big is they're 2 up with that 3rd place position, and they're 2 down. So being the 2 up, they can have one of those games where things just don't go right and not get hurt too bad where they lose a position in the playoffs. However, they're 2 down from Olivet. And that's going to be a tough one to catch up to, because Olivet very good this year, though St. Francis does play them.
You can see right here, 5 teams in the conference are either ranked or receiving votes to be ranked. So this is not an easy CCAC to navigate. And the Saints, after losing all the talent they did from last year, to come to this stage of the season at 10-3 in conference, I think they're very happy with that.
I'll tell you what, Steve Brooks has done a heck of a job. They lost their point guard, the starting point, over to Lewis when Sam Quigley went over to Lewis, and he's done a great job without a true point guard and without a true center this year. Give a lot of credit to Steve Brooks and these kids for having a nice year, and they're sitting in pretty good position for the playoffs.
And they're hoping that they can put themselves in a little bit better position today with a win against the Lakers of Roosevelt University. Tip-off is just a few moments away. We're going to introduce you to the starters for today's game in just a few moments as well. And we will also have the performance of the national anthem by Julia Hinker. We'll turn things over right now to the public address announcer, Dave Laquetta.
Between the Lakers of Roosevelt University and your Fighting Saints. As always, prior to the introductions of this afternoon's starting lineups, we ask you to please rise. Gentlemen, kindly remove your cap and join in the singing of our national anthem performed this afternoon by Miss Julia Hinker.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the
the 5'7" junior from Wheaton, Illinois, number 12, Ivana Markovic. At the other guard spot, a 5'9" senior from Bolingbrook, Illinois, number 14, Kamari Jordan. At one forward spot, a 6-foot freshman from Algonquin, Illinois, number 25, Paige Gieske. And at the other forward spot, 5'11" junior from South Elgin, Illinois, number 22, Nicole Davidson. Rounding out the Fighting Saints lineup in the middle, a 6-foot sophomore from Elmwood Park, Illinois, number 31, Caitlin Elward. Fighting Saints are coached by Mr. Steve Brooks.
Well, there you go. You've met the starters for both teams now. St. Francis at 14-7, 10-3 in the conference, and Roosevelt 14-9 overall, at above 500 at 7-6 in the CCAC, despite 3 consecutive losses. Looking to get back on the board today against a Saints team that's looking for their first 3-game winning streak in 2 months. So a lot on the line for both teams today. It's a beautiful day outside for late January, and it's always a beautiful day inside when we've got basketball on tap. Steve Brooks giving his last-minute advice to the team as they take the floor.
And Steve Brooks doing a great job this year with coming in his first year, replacing a very popular coach in Sam Quiglin, a tremendously successful coach. And Steve with tremendous success in his background, and really just phenomenal job with the without a true point guard and without a true center on this team.
Well, without a true center, it'll be Paige Gieske as usual on the tip. And it's won instead by Chelsea Crippen of Roosevelt. The Lakers are going from left to right on your screen here in the first half, and in some early trouble offensively as Becca Bergman travels.
Boy, Steve Brooks, you see the influence of his coaching on this team. The defense right there by St. Francis, getting up, pressuring the passing lanes and creating the turnover on the first possession.
Bergman dragged that pivot foot, giving it up without a shot. Now the Saints have a chance to score first. Caitlin Aylward thought about the 3. Instead, she puts it on the floor, floats it up and in.
And really nice move by Caitlin Aylward. She fakes the shot like she was going to shoot the 3, and she had time to shoot it, but ends up getting the easy layup on a nice move.
Here's a drive from Jasmine Albert, and she walks. Back-to-back traveling violations called against the Lakers.
Well, you look at her, and she's just built so strong, and you can see her trying to dip that shoulder and ends up dragging her foot and getting called for the travel.
Good start to today's game for St. Francis. They scored on their first possession. They have forced Roosevelt turnovers on each of their first 2. Here's Ivana Markovic.
Roosevelt, very physical team.
Caitlin Aylward, open jumper from the elbow. Can't get the roll, and it's rebounded by Roosevelt.
Nice offensive sequence, a good shot, just ain't able to get it to go down.
Lakers still looking to get their first shot off. This is Schmolt, the freshman on the outside, pass tip, but she gets it back, and now loses it out of bounds. Saints ball.
Boy, right off defensive pressure, just Roosevelt right now. And you can see when Roosevelt catches the basketball, the Saints half a step off from right in their face.
Shot 16 for St. Francis as they work around the perimeter. Corner 3-pointer up, and Markovic, but an offensive rebound for Aylward.
And that's the one thing about zone. It can be difficult sometimes to rebound out of the zone, and St. Francis with a nice offensive board.
First time these two teams met this year, Caitlin Aylward had 7 offensive rebounds. She has one here, but Davidson misses on the jumper for the second chance. There's a jump shot, no good from Lindsey Cox, and the Saints come away with it. First shot of the game for the Lakers, but it doesn't go. Still 2-0 St. Francis. Here's Jordan on the drive, and she travels.
Yeah, she's trying to do a little bit too much. Just make the easy pass. The move ain't there. Make the easy pass and run your offense. And she tried to get a little bit fancy there with the fake reverse dribble and gets called for the travel.
Becca Bergman playing the point for Roosevelt. Passes off to Ashley Schmolt. Just over 2 minutes into the action. Lakers not on the board yet. Trying to change that. Bergman, scoop shot with the left hand, misses. Markovic wants to run, pushing to the outside, Aylward. And lobs down low to Gieske. Cannot get the shot over the defender, Crippen, but the Saints come away with another offensive rebound.
And that's a nice offensive transition game by St. Francis. They had the layup opportunity.
Coming away with the steal. Now it's the Lakers in transition and scoring on the layup, Lindsey Cox.
It's interesting as you look at the statistics going into this game. St. Francis averages 33 rebounds, gives up 30. Roosevelt averages 43 and gives up 40. That disparity in rebounding tells you the different styles of these two teams. St. Francis more slow, methodical. Roosevelt going to push it and look to go.
Aylward misses on the three. Saints struggling from the field to begin today's game as the Lakers have a chance to take their first lead. Crippen gets it down low to Albert, turned away by Aylward, and they'll call it a held ball. The possession arrow facing St. Francis.
And that was really nice defense by Aylward, just getting the hands up there, not leaving her feet to go block the shot where she would have been called for the foul. Kept her feet on the ground, get the hands straight up, and the jump ball to St. Francis.
Paige Gallimore checks into the backcourt for the Roosevelt Lakers. First substitution made today by Keisha Newell.
See Roosevelt extending that 2-3 up the court.
Nicole Davidson in the post, backs it out. 13 to shoot. Aylward at the top. Shot clock running down. It's over to Markovic on the right side. Jordan, long three-pointer, rattles it home.
Boy, that's a huge advantage. Kamari Jordan, chance to be the leading three-point shooter in St. Francis history, and when you got a weapon like her, your shot clock's running down, she just takes a step back and knocks down the three.
For the answer, no good. Top of the key, Jasmine Albert. And here come the Saints once more.
What you like right now, St. Francis securing rebounds as well.
Nicole Davidson works it around the perimeter, out to an open shooter. Gieske cannot knock down the three.
And that was a great rhythm shot by Gieske, just a little too much heat on it.
Gallimore on the drive, nearly threw it away, but Bergman is there. Open shot. Bergman can't connect. Offensive rebound, Roosevelt.
And that's what you don't want to give Roosevelt, a second chance after second chance, and it leads to a three-pointer.
Second time's the charm for Becca Bergman as she hits her first three-pointer of the game, a big-time outside shooter. Bergman doesn't shoot a high percentage, but she shoots a high volume of three-pointers. Kamari Jordan does hit a high percentage, not this time though. Loose ball foul.
Like the way St. Francis to the offensive board, sneaking inside that time, and the foul is called coming from behind and push.
Paige Gieske on the inbounds play from the baseline here.
Getting some good shots here early on.
That ball tipped off of Paige Gieske before going out of bounds, so the ball belongs to Roosevelt.
Those kind of passes will drive you nuts as a coach. It was just kind of a little flip pass over there without really looking at it, and the turnover occurs.
There's Cox on the drive. Layup, no. Good defense by Jordan. The Saints are running. It's Aylward. And Caitlin Aylward took a step.
Yeah, the double there. That was a great pass ahead for the transition game, and her footing was off when she was going to catch the basketball, and she tried to correct it and gets called.
Leah Sims, Maddie Kennedy hop off the bench. Ivana Markovic and Paige Gieske both sit down.
Kennedy, one of those players that needs to step it up a little bit off the bench, give a little more scoring if that opportunity presents itself.
Becca Bergman working outside, guarded by Kennedy. Nearly stolen by Leah Sims. Now inside, Crippen all alone, easy two.
That was an interesting offensive possession. Not much ball movement, a lot of one-on-one, just some nice passing that creates the offensive opportunity.
Saints nearly threw it away, but Kamari Jordan picks up the loose ball. Saints trail for the first time today.
You can see Kamari Jordan, really the leader of this team out there on the basketball court. Settling things down, telling them to get into the offense.
Kennedy fires it inside, deflected out of bounds. It'll stay with the Saints, 7 on the shot clock.
There will be numerous times within this game that you're going to see the shot clock down to 5, 7, 10 seconds for St. Francis. Very methodical.
Sims triggers it in, looking for Aylward, but the pass is deflected by Ashley Smolt and taken away. Here's Bergman out ahead of the pack, and Bergman lays it in.
Yeah, that one ain't going to make you happy as a coach. When you can't get the ball inbounded, get the steal, and an easy layup on it, that just ain't acceptable.
And a timeout is called by Steve Brooks, and clearly he's feeling the same way right now. Roosevelt on a 7-0 run at the moment to take a 9-5 lead, and right now not a whole lot of rhythm to St. Francis' offensive game.
Well, they had early on, you said, boy, you like the rhythm of this for St. Francis. They were really getting opportunities to get up and play defense, and all of a sudden that's fallen away because you haven't been able to score at the offensive end, so they haven't been able to really set up that half-court defense and play the good pressure defense they like.
Just a 30-second timeout, so the Saints come back out on the floor. Jordan, Aylward, Davidson, Kennedy, and Sims trailing by 4 with the ball, 3:53 to play in the first quarter. St. Francis has won back-to-back games. They have not been able to string any long winning streaks together, though, since late November.
Well, they just grind it out. This team just grinds it out. And
Maddie Kennedy guarded outside by Paige Gallimore. To Jordan.
Again, physicalness of Roosevelt switching up the 2-3 man.
Bounce down low. Davidson finishes strong, and a nice find from Kamari Jordan.
Nice cut by Davidson to create the layup opportunity.
So the Saints are back within 2. This is Ashley Smolt. Down low, Crippen. Fired out to Bergman. Well defended by St. Francis.
And this is because you had that offensive score at the other end, so they were able to set up the defense and had it going well there until just the reach on the drive.
Maddie Kennedy called for the foul, and she'll head back to the bench. Ivana Markovic returns to the floor. First foul on St. Francis. Bergman trying to get it in. Finds Smolt in the corner.
Breakdown defensively on the inbounds play, but they got a break.
Bergman just barely saves that ball. Nearly headed straight for the seats. Here's Becca Bergman.
Good jump out on the switch.
Down low to Sierra Huddleston getting her first touch of the game, and she travels.
And that play was made up top. That pass was a little bit longer because of the jump out defensively, and a nice defensive play by St. Francis.
Well, we've seen a lot of travels early in this game, both sides. There's Huddleston jumping the passing lane and deflecting the ball back, but Leah Sims is there to pick it up. Good ball movement. Sims open 3, no good. Rebound to Roosevelt and Jasmine Albert. Here's Bergman on the run. Sims got in front of her, slowed her down.
Roosevelt trying to pick up that tempo.
Albert posting up on Aylward. Nice move and gets the roll.
That's a real nice move. She read where the defense was at and then just spun back to the other side once she made the read.
Kamari Jordan handling the ball for St. Francis with 2 minutes to play in the first quarter.
Two very evenly matched teams with very different styles.
And a steal. Smolt stripped it away to Gallimore. Back to Smolt. Nice job by the Saints getting back on defense, and Smolt went up and down.
Tell you what, St. Francis right now getting a little bit lazy offensively. We've seen a couple bad passes, and Markovic that time just holding the ball down by her waist instead of really trying to protect it, and gets it knocked away. Those are little things that you need to tighten up if you want to win this basketball game. Again, that pressure is extended up the court.
Here's Aylward driving the baseline into a double team. She finds Davidson, who's quickly double teamed herself. Now back outside. Aylward, corner 3, no good. Davidson tips the rebound to herself. Nice
Great
work.
job by Davidson on the weak side rebound. She just battled for that one. Nice position down low and gets it for the Saints with another opportunity now.
15 on the shot clock as Davidson down in the corner, drives, floats it up, off the side of the backboard, no, but another offensive board. Out to Aylward. Aylward can't get the roll. And Roosevelt comes away with it.
St. Francis with some great opportunities, just not knocking the shots down.
And there's a defensive breakdown. Ashley Smolt all alone, a wide open lane to the basket.
Nobody stopped the basketball. She just dribbled the length of the court, and nobody called the ball and tried to stop it.
6-point deficit for St. Francis. This could be their last shot coming up of the first quarter. Aylward inside lays it up. No, but she's fouled.
You see that little sense of frustration by Aylward. They're like, dang, what do we got to do to get a shot to go down?
Nothing's falling right now for St. Francis, but they'll get a chance for some freebies here. Aylward, a good shooter from the line. And she hits on the first.
Well, for St. Francis, you're going to have to put more than 9 points on the board in a quarter to win this basketball game. 9 times 4 is 36, and that ain't going to win many games. So you have to hope that scoring is going to pick up here in the second quarter and from there on out.
Aylward, a 72% shooter from the line this year, hits them both and heads to the bench. Cody Brand will come on defensively for the final 40 seconds of the period.
Steve Brooks and his staff trying to get the starters that he plays so much, little breaks here and there, and all those breaks add up just to get that little rest to regain your energy.
This is Ashley Smolt pulling up and passing out. Lindsey Cox.
No, Roosevelt don't try to fool you. They're just going to try you off the dribble and look to score and make the pay.
And Gallimore cannot beat Cody Brand off the dribble. Brand comes away with the block.
This is a big possession for St. Francis. This would be a nice lift going into the second quarter.
Jordan working on Duckhorn. Starts the drive, pull-up jumper. Off the back iron. Davidson taps the rebound back to Jordan. Throws one up at the buzzer. No. Just off from Kamari Jordan, who is no stranger to buzzer beaters against Roosevelt, but not this time.
Well, that was a good opportunity for St. Francis to try to cut that into that lead a little bit, but again, they're going to have to pick up the scoring here. Only 9 points in that first quarter, but they had some defensive breakdowns and still held Roosevelt to 13 points.
The first quarter at an end. St. Francis down by 4. We'll take a short break and be right back with period number 2 at St. Francis basketball on the USF Sports Network.
There's a call to be answered. The spirit of competition is still alive inside. The desire still drives. The phrase student athlete has a great ring to it. Lasting friendships are ready to be made. You just want to keep playing. Game on. Get in the game at playnaia.org.
Back at the Sullivan Center, it's a 4-point game at the end of the first period. Roosevelt 13, St. Francis 9. You look at one statistic, and it's amazing that St. Francis is as close as they are. Roosevelt shooting 50% from the field. St. Francis just 19%, 3 of 16. And I think part of it, Mike, is a lot of these players for St. Francis are still working their way back from illness and trying to get back into the groove.
Yeah, the last game we did, their 2 leading scorers out with the flu, and you can see just a little bit of rhythm on the offensive end, shooting-wise, is just not there for St. Francis right now, so you hope that gets going. 1 of 8 from 3. And also, you see 11 rebounds for St. Francis, which is odd when you consider they only average 30 a game, and in one quarter, there's already 11 rebounds there.
Lindsey Cox has an open look from outside, way off. Rebounded by Leah Sims.
Nice. I thought she was going to make that pass across court, and she ended up not doing it.
Cody Brand throws it away, nearly intercepted. Ivana Markovic got the ball back in the front court and then took a step back, so it's an over and back call and a turnover.
You see the athleticism of Roosevelt doing a nice job of jumping the passing lanes, and they're creating turnovers for St. Francis, and St. Francis has to be better with the basketball. The turnovers starting to add up.
On the back end of that play, a little bit of a tough break. The ball was tipped, so there would have been no backcourt violation. But Markovic did get both of her hands back on the ball before crossing the line, as that one is tipped out of bounds by St. Francis. It'll stay with Roosevelt. 9:22 to play in the first half.
St. Francis with 7 turnovers already in the contest.
Inbounded to Albert, and Albert lays it in. Nice move by Albert to get around Cody Brand.
Yeah, Cody Brand just getting caught on the wrong side there and out of position.
6-point game. Leah Sims in possession.
2-3 once again by Roosevelt.
Shot clock down to 8 with Sims on the outside. She'll try the three-pointer. Leah Sims comes up a little bit short. Offensive rebound, Davidson.
One of the things that happens is when you reverse the basketball numerous times, it forces the defense to adjust, and St. Francis getting an offensive rebounds because of all that adjustment that has to take place.
Jordan in and out on the three, but a loose ball foul is called on the Lakers. So it'll stay with St. Francis here. And we got a timeout called by Roosevelt, a 30-second timeout. Saints trail 15-9. They'll have the ball coming out of the timeout.
Well, St. Francis hasn't looked real crisp here in this game, yet they're getting offensive opportunities because they are hitting the boards and doing a nice job of competing for stuff down there. But they need to tighten things up and take advantage of the scoring opportunities they're getting because they've had some nice looks. Tighten up the turnovers.
1 of 10 right now on three-pointers, certainly not helping the cause either. Kamari Jordan, typically a very good shooter, 47% from the outside, 1 of 4 on 3 balls today. But despite all the struggles that St. Francis has had, they're still trailing by only 6. The defense has still performed well.
Kamari will be there before this game's out. Kamari will be there. She's too good of a shooter for her not to be there.
Markovic will inbound from the baseline coming out of the timeout. Kamari Jordan pulls it up top.
Again against the zone.
Stripped by Jasmine Albert, and a foul is called on Albert. Visibly upset about the call. It is on the floor.
Jasmine kind of getting caught up in the emotion there for just a moment. And got to be careful. The officials, they ain't real kind to that.
And Albert in particular has to be careful. That's her 3rd foul. And I believe that it is only the 4th foul on the team. She's picked up 3 of them. The 2nd foul of the quarter on Roosevelt. Jordan for 3. Good this time, and Kamari Jordan back on the board.
That's big for Jasmine Albert. She averages 13 points a game, so that's a lot of points taken out of your lineup.
Here's Smolt, pull up from the foul line, and she's blocked from behind. A foul is called on St. Francis.
Yeah, you could see her. She just clipped the arm, and from the angle we were at, some thought she had just a basketball, but she caught the arm on the play and going to the line for 2.
Caitlin Aylward's 1st foul. And Ashley Smolt misses off the front iron on the first free throw. Smolt this season a 74% foul shooter. Trying to make it a 2-score game from the line. She makes 1 of 2. And then heads to the bench. Lindsey Cox back in for the Lakers.
Be nice to see St. Francis get a score here. They haven't been within this range in a while. Just down 4 right now.
Here's Nicole Davidson passing off to Paige Akiski on the left side. Saints moving the ball around the perimeter. Shot clock under 10. This is Davidson with 4 to shoot. Back to Jordan. Jordan takes a dribble, throws it up. No good, and she missed the rim, so it's a shot clock violation.
Yeah, there was no sense of urgency when that shot clock hit 10 seconds that time, and it ends up costing them. It was like nobody was looking to take advantage and go to the basket and try to create something.
Here's Becca Bergman around the screen to the left. She starts to drive. Markovic gets in the way of that ball, knocks it away, but she's on the baseline as she touches it, so that's out of bounds. It'll stay with Roosevelt. The shot clock is at 14.
Oh, Bergman kind of playing with the basketball there and almost had it taken away on a nice play by Markovic.
Out to Gallimore. Paige Gallimore in some trouble. She's lost her dribble. Looking low for Crippen, but can't find her. It's out of bounds.
That was interesting. You saw Kamari Jordan just literally grab her arm, and the official was looking right at it, no call, and St. Francis with a little bit of a break on the play. Physical game.
Here's Kamari Jordan tossing off to Davidson. Back into the hands of the point guard, Ivana Markovic. Shot clock down to 10. They've not been inside the perimeter yet. on this possession. Jordan, another three. It's short, and it's rebounded by Crippen.
And St. Francis really not getting good shots the last 2 times down court within the context of their offense.
Gallimore on the cut, lays it up off the front of the rim, rebounded by Markovic. Here she comes. Does not have numbers, but she shovels it off to Aylward, who cannot corral it. It's out of bounds.
Now the spacing was not good for St. Francis, and Markovic should have just taken that ball in and shot it herself and gone for the layup attempt. There was only about 3-4 feet of space, and she tried to make that pass, which is extremely difficult for her to make and for her teammate to control, being so close.
Not a lot of offense so far in this one, and we have got a foul on Roosevelt far from the ball.
Yeah, off the ball. Again, they play physical. They're going to come and screen you. They're going to hit you. They're going to chuck you.
That one on Crippen, and it's her first. Gieske dribbles to the right and gives it off to Markovic.
Roosevelt really picking up the pressure defense, having gone back to the man-to-man, switching it between that and 2-3.
Jordan fires down low for Davidson. She fades away and can't hit.
It's a good pass, but Davidson fading away on that shot rather than getting her feet underneath her.
Here's Smolt on the drive. Dishes it out to Lindsey Cox, and they'll reset. Cox pushing Gieske towards the basket. Wild shot, but she gets it to fall.
Kind of blocked by the official, so all I saw was it roll in, but what I saw before that play, it had to be a wild shot because the defense was pretty dang good.
Not much more you can do about that one. Lindsey Cox just threw it up and got it to roll through. Here's Kamari Jordan on the drive. Floater misses. Rebound tapped out and finally chased down by Smolt.
Interesting, 4 players for St. Francis standing offensively while Kamari Jordan made that move. Really not getting a lot of movement in the offense.
Here's Becca Bergman crossing over on Gieske, getting through the lane, but misses on the layup. Rebound by Davidson.
That's a nice move. St. Francis with a break as she missed the layup.
18-12. Under 5 minutes to play in the half. This is Gieske getting by Bergman. Met at the rim by Crippen, but Gieske gets it to go anyway.
And that was a nice job by Gieske. One of those players who said had to kind of step it up today point-wise with Acosta out. And a nice drive getting the 2 points for St. Francis.
There's Chelsea Crippen outside, guarded by Aylward, passing over to Lindsey Cox.
Now, this possession, you're seeing more offensive fluidity by Roosevelt, but when that doesn't work, they just break down and basically take it one-on-one.
That's what happened right there. Smolt with the fadeaway jumper, no good. Saints basketball. Markovic out to Davidson, who knocks down the long 2.
And that's good offense. Nice spacing by St. Francis. Markovic on the drive with the kick-out pass for 2.
Saints are back to within 2, 18-16. Smolt outside to Cox for 3. No good. Offensive rebound, Chelsea Crippen. Back to Lindsey Cox. Cox's layup misses, and it's rebounded by Kamari Jordan. Jordan out to Davidson, wide open. Davidson, easy layup, we're tied.
Nice read by Davidson, seeing the defense was all the way back in the paint and the one dribble for the layup.
Markovic putting on the full court pressure, but Bergman beats it.
Markovic plays with energy. Man, you gotta like that. She just plays with tremendous energy.
That's a foul on Caitlin Aylward. Sloppily challenging the pass, and she'll check out for Cody Brandt. Second foul on Aylward. She's actually going to stay in the game. Nicole Davidson comes out. And now Maddie Kennedy will come in for Aylward. So with 2 fouls, she's most likely on the bench the rest of the half. Kennedy back on the floor.
Kennedy would be good here. She's got a 3-minute stretch. See if she can get something going both at the defensive end and offensively.
Maddie Kennedy coming off of her first collegiate start on Wednesday. She played well in the blowout win over Trinity International. 3-pointer misses from Bergman. Offensive rebound. Gallimore back up. No. Rebound tapped. Still loose, and Gieske picks it up. Gieske on the run, taking it into 3 defenders. Lays it up. No good.
You like that aggressiveness by Gieske.
And Gieski's shaken up on the other end as Duckhorn has an open three. Rims out, and the rebound tapped out of bounds by St. Francis. But you don't like to see this. Paige Gieski grasping her right ankle.
She's fine. She's fine.
And she is back in the game. She's not going to check out. She was on the defensive end for a while, came back, rejoined the game, and was hunched over a little bit again, but she does seem to be okay.
She's going to work through this one.
This is Gallimore spinning around Jordan and drawing the foul.
You saw all three St. Francis players drop down their hands because she dropped the basketball as she was going for the layup. And the foul gets called. But boy, all three of them at the same time looking to grab that basketball when she brought it down.
First foul on Kamari Jordan. It's just the third on the team. Inbounded to Gallimore. Duckhorn for three. That's perfect. Duckhorn, an excellent three-point shooter, gets her first look and her first points of the game.
And a nice play setting a double screen for her to get that opportunity.
So Roosevelt breaks the tie that St. Francis had worked so hard to earn. And now the Saints back in possession. Jordan leaner banks it in.
Boy, that's a tough shot. And Kamari Jordan just giving a shove to the Roosevelt player. Again, very Roosevelt, very physical. They got your hands on you. They kind of hit you, chuck you.
Gallimore turned away by Kamari Jordan. And a timeout called from the St. Francis bench. 1:58 to play in the first half. Saints trail 21-20. Starting to get going a little bit over the last few minutes.
You see Steve Brooks there. He is intense. In a game, he is intense. And again, with tremendous success in his background, tremendous success here this year.
It's been an odd couple of weeks for St. Francis. They've been dealing with injuries. They've been dealing with illnesses. And today the big player out is Andriana Acosta. And it's just weird, Mike, because you can't even get the reserves in a rhythm playing together because it's a different player out every game.
It has been. But to St. Francis's credit, they've kept it together. Steve Brooks keeping it all together, and it helped. They had a couple games there that were pretty easily winnable games for them, and they did that. And that kind of helps when you're going through these stretches like this. Now, the good news is I'm glad it's happening now and not right at the end, right at the very end.
Minute 58 to play. St. Francis ball.
Kamari Jordan, what a career here at St. Francis for her.
Jordan just 7 3-pointers away from becoming the all-time leader in St. Francis history.
I got her pegged as the all-time leader already. That's going to happen.
Probably not today. It would take a miracle second half, but possibly.
I hope it happens today.
That'd be fun. Possibly on Wednesday against Cardinal Stritch. It'd be nice to see it at home.
Good ball reversal that cuts through the middle.
Markovic drives and kicks. Kennedy, open look. Maddie Kennedy knocks down the three.
That's what you're looking for her off the bench. Nice pickup. Great offensive sequence by St. Francis, and a nice pickup for the team with Kennedy scoring.
Saints take their first lead since it was 5-2. Roosevelt trying to answer. Kamari Jordan jumps in front of Chelsea Crippen and commits the foul.
Good idea, but a good call. Jordan trying to sneak around on that play.
Second foul on Jordan, and Leah Sims checks in. Minute 20 to play in the half. Both Jordan and Aylward are on the bench with 2 fouls. And Becca Bergman will come back in for Roosevelt as Carmisha Chavers sits down. Tough inbounds play. Gieske takes the ball away and on the floor is able to cover it up. We've got a held ball call, and the possession arrow should be going St. Francis's way.
Good defense. St. Francis recovering on that very quickly, collapsing as they tried to make that inbounds pass and getting the jump ball.
Cody Brand on the right wing. Markovic out to Sims for 3. And now the Saints are starting to heat up a little bit from the outside.
And boy, it's been twice where Markovic has penetrated into the lane and just made that nice little kick out pass. Be interesting to see if Roosevelt changes it up defensively once again after that.
5-point lead is the Saints' biggest so far as Bergman misses the three and the rebound goes out of bounds to St. Francis.
And Roosevelt really rushing that shot offensively. That's a shot they can get pretty much any time they want within the context of the offense.
Markovic hounded outside by Smolt, and Ashley Smolt commits the foul. So that will eliminate the shot clock for all intents and purposes. Or it won't. I'm sorry, the shot clock does not reset on the foul. It was only at 20 seconds at the time. Paige Gieske. And then we got another whistle. I'm not sure what the issue is here. A little bit of a confusion about the foul.
I'm not sure if it's the shot clock they're talking about here. Or
the shot clock was at 20. So it did not need to reset.
Well, with the foul,
there are 30 seconds left at the time of the foul and 20 on the shot clock. Now they're keeping the game clock at 22 seconds and resetting the shot clock to 22. So
there was
they did need
with
to
the
reset
foul.
the
Yeah,
shot
they
clock.
reset the shot clock and hadn't done it.
Okay, so we're ready to go again here. This is Cody Brand. Brand in the post, no good on the shot. And here come the Lakers. They should
Don't
get
know
the
if
final
that's the shot
here.
you really wanted at that point.
4 seconds left. Blocked by Gieske. Saints get it back. Kennedy will hurl it towards the hoop. No good, but a fine ending to the first half for St. Francis. Very slow going offensively for both teams, but Saints get a couple of good looks from the outside at the end of the period, and they'll go into the break with a 5-point lead.
Maddie Kennedy with a huge three for St. Francis, and then Sims as well, and getting that offense going for USF.
So 26-1 is our score. St. Francis trying to complete a season series sweep over Roosevelt. They beat them 59-57 back on November 15th, and they've got a 26-21 lead at the half today. We'll take a break. 15 minutes on the clock for halftime. We'll be back for the second half, so stick around. You're watching St. Francis Hoops on the USF Sports Network. Welcome back inside the Sullivan Center, where the St. Francis Fighting Saints hold a 5-point lead over the Roosevelt Lakers, 26-21. Along with Mike Zaworski, I'm Terry Bonadonna. Talking about the first half, Mike, we were looking at the keys of the game beforehand, some of the things that Coach Steve Brooks had talked about. One of the big things we both pointed out when we looked at the stat sheet at halftime, offensive rebounds, big time in favor of St. Francis.
They are, and they're not always capitalizing on those rebounds. 8 offensive rebounds in the first half. They're not always scoring off of them, but what it does is it forces Roosevelt to have to expend more energy defensively, which takes away from your offensive plan at the other end because those legs start to fatigue. Look for that over the course of this game, especially because Roosevelt is such a physical basketball team.
Let's look at those other two keys, gap help versus the drive and ball movement on offense. How have the Saints been able to handle those two issues?
Well, St. Francis ball movement's been a big thing in this game. Early on they did it, started the game, then they kind of got sloppy, some bad turnovers, some bad passes. Then all of a sudden, Markovic, she comes in and she really did a nice job of breaking down the defense off the dribble, and that created some three-point opportunities for St. Francis.
And the two big threes at the end of the half, one for Maddie Kennedy, one for Leah Sims, really gave us the score that we got right now, 26-21. Prior to that, really wasn't much separating these two teams.
Well, you look at these two teams, though they're vastly different in style. They're two very well-matched teams. I think before this one's all over with, you're going to see a very close contest. Though it's at 5 points right now, I think that's going to kind of dissipate over the contest of this game unless St. Francis can do some of the things they did offensively there at the end of the second quarter.
It's a 5-point lead for St. Francis, but it could just as easily be going the other way. It could be tied right now, which was what we had for much of the way in that first half because, like I said, not a whole lot statistically differentiating these two teams right now. They're both shooting 33%. Kamari Jordan, the leading scorer in the game at this point, 8 points. Nicole Davidson, 9 rebounds, 5 of them offensive. That's been huge for St. Francis, but maybe the biggest key for Roosevelt, their best player, Jasmine Albert, was held to only 10 minutes. She was forced to the bench with 3 fouls.
Yeah, that's huge, and she'll be back. And one of the things St. Francis has done that Roosevelt just hasn't really taken advantage of in this game is St. Francis kind of taken away any transition baskets. They had that one breakdown with the layup, but outside of that, Roosevelt not really getting a lot in transition.
So here we go as we begin the second half. The two teams have switched sides, so the Lakers are going from right to left now as they take the first possession. Inbound it to Jasmine Albert on the floor with those 3 fouls to start the half.
Now look for St. Francis to go at her offensively, try to draw that 4th foul and get her back out of the game.
This is Chelsea Crippen looking for some help. Crippen had a nice first half with 6 rebounds.
And Roosevelt comes out in its first possession really trying to execute its offense.
Lindsey Cox fires it inside. Jasmine Albert finishes.
And that's the result. You get some nice movement in the offense, player movement, and it creates breakdowns, and they get the easy layup because of it. 6
points for Albert on 3 of 4 shooting, coming off a career-high performance on Wednesday night in which she scored 26 in a loss against Indiana South Bend.
See Roosevelt in the 2-3 defense.
Aylward finds Markovic. 5 on the shot clock. Aylward for 3. Short. And rebound to Lindsey Cox. Cox stumbles and falls. She needs some help, and fortunately for the Lakers, Becca Bergman was there to scoop it up.
He was hoping St. Francis might be able to retrieve that loose ball, but just couldn't get there.
Here's Bergman. Backing out, 10 to shoot. Albert for 3, well off, and it's rebounded by Davidson. That's already 10 for her.
And that's a tough shot coming up towards the top at the angle she was at, and almost a 180-degree spin to get that shot off. And you get that shot anytime within your offense.
We've got a foul on the floor. It's on Lindsey Cox, her first and the team's first. Paige Gallimore comes on, and Lindsey Cox heads out. Gallimore was out there for 14 first half minutes. Jordan on the outside, fakes the shot, gets in, spins into the lane, throws it up and in.
Man, that's a tough shot by Kamari Jordan with the left hand, spinning. Just a great move by her.
So the Saints extend their lead.
That's one of those classics. No, nice shot as a coach.
Albert misses her second shot in a row, and here come the Saints running. Paige Gieske lays it up and in.
I like what Paige Gieske did there. She kind of looked away like she might pull it up, that little hesitation, and then just took it right to the rack. Nice play by Gieske.
7 points is now the biggest lead of the game for either side.
Well, we've talked about Gieske and Kennedy having to kind of pick it up a little bit for St. Francis, and they've done that in this game.
Crippen gets her own rebound and resets out to Jasmine Albert. Albert, though, can't control the dribble, and it's picked off by Caitlin Aylward. Down into the corner, Markovic for three, short. Another offensive board for Davidson.
Bingo.
Jordan misses the three. Markovic trying to save it, but can't keep it in bounds. It'll go to the Lakers.
Boy, Kamari Jordan, she has her feet set in time. Those are few and far between for her because she's such a great three-point shooter, and everybody knows that. So you thought that one would be knocked down right away, but just unable to get it to go.
Saints will put on a little full-court press here. Emily Duckhorn inbounds the ball to Paige Gallimore.
I just like that little bit of token pressure. Just takes a little bit more time off the clock, just a few seconds. Break up the rhythm of things.
This is Albert. Pull up three. Short. And the rebound to Kamari Jordan. Jordan's moving things along. She spins inside again, and it's ripped out of her hands by Paige Gallimore.
You could see Kamari just by the way she was eyeing things up that she was planning on doing that. And nice play by the defense and making that read and tying her up.
That looks like a foul on Nicole Davidson, giving a little shove to Jasmine Albert underneath the basket. It's the first foul on St. Francis on Davidson. That's number 1. Albert drives off the inbounds play, misses on the layup, and Aylward rebounds. Roosevelt still struggling on the offensive end, and St. Francis is trying to take advantage. Build a big lead, up by 7 right now.
How about the patience?
Aylward, who lays it in.
How about the patience? The nice back cut by Aylward. And a nice play, and the St. Francis offense just clicking right now.
And the Roosevelt offense is not. That ball was tipped, so it's not a backcourt violation.
You know, you're seeing a lot. Roosevelt came out in that first possession. They had a great offensive possession, really moving within the offense, and now it's just breaking down into a bunch of 1-and-1.
They're just giving the ball to Albert and seeing what she can do, and she's missed 4 consecutive shots. Here's Davidson from the baseline. No good.
Boy, you thought that shot was going to go down. Just a great offensive sequence by St. Francis, and they're hitting on all cylinders right now, and Roosevelt's going to take some time to talk about this. Roosevelt needs to get this under control because it's just one-on-one basketball after that great possession they had to open the second half.
5:44 to play in the third. 32-23 St. Francis. Roosevelt led at the end of the first quarter 13-9, but in the entire second quarter and the first half of the third here, they've only scored 10 points in almost 15 minutes now, and they're really struggling on the offensive side. Big part of that, St. Francis playing well on defense.
And they are playing well defensively. Roosevelt came out early on, shot 6 for 12 from the floor. In the first half after that, they went 3 for 15, and that has not gotten better here in the second half. So their shooting statistics since that 6 for 12 start have just fallen off the table.
I'm struggling to find a possession right now that I can think of in the second half in which Jasmine Albert has not ultimately taken the shot. She's on the bench right now. She's been Roosevelt's best player this year, but right now just not a lot of movement on the offensive side, and we'll see if that changes with their star out of the game for a few minutes. This is Becca Bergman on the outside.
Roosevelt took that timeout for a reason.
Bergman gets inside, puts it up off the backboard. No, rebounded by Jordan, and she wants to run. Kamari Jordan forcing it down the middle of the lane. Nice bounce pass. Caitlin Aylward finishes.
That's what veteran ball handlers do for you. Kamari Jordan not forcing the action, just took it, filling the lanes for St. Francis, and the nice transition basket.
And a double-digit lead now for the Fighting Saints for the first time all afternoon.
How about the defensive pressure picking up?
Sierra Huddleston lays it up and in. She got herself free. And got a nice pass from Chelsea Crippen.
Oh, a nice cut by Huddleston to the basket.
Here's Aylward in the corner, back outside to Markovic.
You like the secondary break set there, reversing the basketball.
Davidson down low. Davidson can't connect. She gets her own rebound, but it's ripped away by Bergman. The ball loose. And I think we've got a tie-up. Possession arrow faces St. Francis.
A little bit of a break. She didn't tie that one up for long, but the jump foul or jump ball possession called, and good for St. Francis.
34-25, 4.5 minutes to play in the third. They will reset the shot clock to 30. And here's the play for St. Francis. Caitlin Aylward over to Kamari Jordan. Aylward, turnaround jumper, perfect.
How about Aylward's patience there? Turn around square to the basket. Look what the defense is doing and just knocks down the 10-footer. Nice patience by Aylward.
Lindsey Cox tries one from long range, in and out.
I mean, just absolutely no offensive movement at all, and that's just one-on-one basketball. If it stays that way, St. Francis is going to win this basketball game.
Markovic barking out orders as she takes it to Becca Bergman to the right side. Off to Aylward. Davidson looking for Aylward inside. Couldn't quite find her, but Aylward tips it out to Paige Gieske, who drives, scores, and draws a foul.
Paige Gieske really picking it up for St. Francis, and with Acosta out, you were looking for more points, and Gieske has done that here today.
38-25 St. Francis. And that was all set up by Caitlin Aylward, who nearly lost that pass out of bounds. It was not a great pass initially from Nicole Davidson, but they kept it alive, and Gieske is able to finish it off for a three-point play. St. held in this game 21-20 late in the first half before they got a three-pointer from Leah Sims as that ball was last touched by Roosevelt. It's a turnover.
You expected more out of Roosevelt here in this third quarter. I mean, the wheels have just come off the train right now. They can't get anything going. A lot of one basketball and turnovers, and they're going to have to do it at the defensive end, trying to pick up the pressure as you see them extend it with some token pressure. But staying back in that 2-3 right now, I think that helps St. Francis because they've been picking this 2-3 apart.
Starting with that Leah Sims three-pointer, it's a 19-4 run for the Fighting Saints. Trying to extend it here with 3 on the shot clock. Kamari Jordan.
And getting it right into that weak area, the 2-3, that mid-lane area, and another basket for St. Francis, and they've just blown this lead up.
Jordan's got 12, and there's a foul called on Caitlin Aylward.
Well, if you're Roosevelt, that took all of about 8 seconds, that offensive possession. Then you're coming down, and at the other end, you're playing defense for 20-25 seconds every possession. Then you go back down, and there's another 8-second possession. They can't keep going at this. Their legs are going to start wearing out here in the second half.
Lindsey Cox at the line for 2 shots. And she hits on the first one. It's only the third free throw attempt of the game for the Lakers. They're 2 of 3. Maddie Kennedy, Cody Brand back in for the Fighting Saints. 2:44 to play in the third quarter.
And for St. Francis, a nice job at the defensive end, really taking Roosevelt out of anything they had been trying to do.
Cox hits 2 of 2. Lakers finally back on the board. Still trailing by 14 now as the Saints take the ball back.
I like that they're staying into 2-3. St. Francis got it figured out.
Jordan to Kennedy, 10 on the shot clock. Aylward inside to Kennedy, baseline jumper, no good. Offensive rebound, Cody Brand, and she has it stripped out of bounds. It'll stay with the Saints.
How about Cody Brand on the weak side? She's had great energy today. Nice offensive rebound, and that's what you get when you have patience against the zone.
Markovic inbounds it to Kennedy. She'll try the three off the inbounds play, misses short, rebounded by Crippen. Here's Lindsey Cox. Cox drives, pulls up, wild shot, misses. Offensive rebound, Jasmine Albert, no. She gets it back, turned away by Brand, and finally the ball knocked out of bounds, but last touched by St. Francis.
Boy, you keep seeing the same consistencies for Roosevelt offensively. Quick shot, quick shot, quick shot, and that just plays into the hands of St. Francis.
This is their fourth chance on this possession, and Crippen frees herself up off the inbounds play and has an open layup. 4 points for Chelsea Crippen.
Nice pass to get her the basketball.
Ball stripped away by Paige Gallimore, and she comes away with the steal. But Gallimore throws it away. Steal this time goes to Kamari Jordan. Now we got a whistle. Clock issue, I believe.
Resetting it to 26 seconds.
So 26 on the shot clock, 1:41 to go in the quarter as St. Francis opens their possession. Kennedy blocks by Crippen.
You see how long Crippen is, getting those arms up there, and Kennedy not even able to get the shot to the rim.
Smolt pull-up jumper misses off the front iron.
That's good for St. Francis. Good for St. Francis.
Another quick shot for Roosevelt,
and you're spending all this defensive energy, and that just zaps you.
Saints have the double-digit lead in the waning moments of the third period.
St. Francis into the rhythm of the offense now.
Brand off the dribble, sends it down into the corner. Kamari Jordan, open three, short.
Great offensive possession. The shot going up with 2 seconds left.
Lob down low for Crippen. The pass deflected away. Smolt saves it and gets it back to Crippen, who scores inside.
Just a fluke basket. A nice save by Roosevelt.
Jordan across the timeline. Just about a half minute to play in the quarter.
Shot clock don't affect Roosevelt.
Shot clock is down to 10 for St. Francis, though. Aylward puts it on the floor. Pull up, short jumper, misses. And with 10 seconds to go, here come the Lakers. Nearly stolen from Smolt. 7 seconds. Smolt off to Cox for three. Short, rebounded by Brand, and that will end the third quarter. A dominant third quarter for the Fighting Saints. They took a 5-point lead, extended it to 10. They were up by as many as 14. I think may have been at 16 at one point. It's 41-31 at the end of three, and we'll take a quick break. We'll talk more about what we just saw and get you the fourth quarter in just a few moments when we get back. St. Francis leads by 10 on the USF Sports Network.
Loyola Medicine is the official healthcare provider for the Fighting Saints. We're committed to sports injury prevention, maintaining the health and nutrition of young athletes, and optimizing training and conditioning. Our team includes fellowship-trained orthopedic surgeons, primary care and emergency medicine physicians, licensed physical therapists, and certified athletic trainers. Our sports medicine program offers day, evening, and weekend availabilities. Caring for body and soul is unique, and it's uniquely Loyola.
Good third quarter for the Fighting Saints. They outscored Roosevelt 15-10. Now the 41-31 lead overall. Kamari Jordan, Caitlin Aylward, both in double figures scoring. Nicole Davidson has 13 rebounds today. And the Saints are sitting pretty going into the fourth quarter, Mike.
They really are, and part of that is due to them having a nice third quarter, really getting the offense going, doing a nice job defensively, and also part of that credit goes to Roosevelt, because right now, and we were just talking about this a moment ago, there is absolutely no offensive rhythm for Roosevelt whatsoever. As you're watching, you're saying to yourself, what is their game plan offensively? And the way they're playing in the second half right now, you're saying their game plan is there is no game plan. And that's benefiting St. Francis.
Since the end of the first quarter, Roosevelt shooting just about 20% as a team. They're 7 for their last 32. Caitlin Aylward nearly came away with a steal on this first possession of the fourth. Gallimore into the corner for Albert. She drives, blocked I think by Gieske. Loose ball picked up by Smolt, back up with it and in.
That's a nice shot by her, getting that shot to go down. You can see Roosevelt struggling with the size of St. Francis as they try to take the ball to the basket.
There's Davidson down low. Kicks it out to Markovic. Swung around into the corner. This is Caitlin Aylward with 13 seconds left.
That's okay. We got 10 seconds. We got plenty of time.
Saints have been using the whole shot clock to good effect here in the second half. Gieske on the drive. No good. Battle for the rebound. Still loose, and it rolls all the way out somehow to Ivana Markovic.
And Markovic brings it back up top, and now they're going to run more clock. That's more defensive energy having to be put out by Roosevelt, which takes away their legs for the stretch run.
Mari Jordan bounces it out to Aylward for three. Caitlin Aylward hits for three on a possession. Won about 50 seconds. They end up with 3 points out of it. That's big.
That's beautiful offense by St. Francis. Inside out, reversing the basketball, and they've done that consistently here in the second half.
Becca Bergman looking around. Finds Jasmine Albert at the top of the key. Trying to get Albert going. Lakers not getting much out of their star player right now. She misses on the three.
Now they're just settling for shots. The shots are not coming in rhythm at all for them. And they were trying to run some offense that time, but again, it's just more of a, oh, I'm going to accept this shot instead of getting a good shot.
Ivana Markovic drives with the left hand and throws it away, but it was deflected back to Paige Gieske. Still alive for the Saints. Jordan misses on the three. Offensive rebound, Davidson.
I'll tell you what, Davidson has been so active on the board. She has looked outstanding around the basket going to get rebounds in this game.
Jordan drives the right side, and before the shot, she's bumped down the floor. Fourth foul on Jasmine Albert.
And right now, Roosevelt, some of those players look whipped from having to play so much defense, and the offensive end, they're not using any shot clock at all.
11-point lead for the Saints. Gieske's inbounds pass is tipped, but Davidson is able to track it down. There's a battle for the ball. Albert rips that ball out of the hands of Caitlin Aylward, and they call a held ball. It's still St. Francis' possession. Albert's still in the game. I thought she had checked out with her fourth foul. They made 3 substitutions, but Albert actually stayed in there.
Well, for Roosevelt, right when it rains, it pours. Right now, they can't get anything going their way.
Inbounds pass goes to Davidson.
And she didn't have to do that. They got a break there because she could have let that ball go into the backcourt and then just picked it up.
Saints do retain possession, though, despite the mistake.
You look at the loose balls, and St. Francis is getting everything right now.
Kamari Jordan fouled on the floor with one on the shot clock.
On the shot clock. Out of 2 minutes and 44 seconds in this quarter, I'll bet you 2 minutes and 30 of it have been spent at the defensive end for Roosevelt.
It certainly feels that way. Caitlin Aylward kicks it out to an open shooter. Markovic hits the three.
That just zaps your energy. That just zaps you.
St. Francis just wearing down Roosevelt right now. They built their lead back up to 14. Crippen inside. Nice fake, gets Aylward in the air, and Crippen scores for 2.
And hey, you haven't seen much of that. That's a nice play by Roosevelt, getting that ball down low to the big girl, and she just turns around and knocks it off the glass for 2.
Chelsea Crippen's having a good game with 8 points, nearing a double-double. Gieske on the outside, bounces low to Caitlin Aylward. Out to Markovic, hit the 3 last time. This time she drives into Aylward, and she's fouled by Sierra Huddleston.
How about Markovic? She loves to go to her left hand and penetrate to the basket. She's done it 3 or 4 times this game, and then either kick the ball out for the open 3, or that time the little shovel pass for the layup and the foul call.
First shot is good. Saints 4 for 4 from the free throw line tonight. Huddleston checks out. Ashley Smolt is back in.
Now for St. Francis, you have to be careful. Hey, we're up double digits, where things are going good. The type of team Roosevelt is, they can make that up in no time at all. And before you know it, it's down to a 3-point lead or a 2-point lead. So St. Francis has to stay fundamental and do what they've been doing the whole game.
On the runner, Lindsey Cox can't complete the play. Another quick shot for Roosevelt, and St. Francis has it right back.
How about the patience? She could have just taken a layup on that shot. Instead, she doesn't. Kicks it out. Run the offense. Take some more out of them.
Davidson, turnaround, no. And it's rebounded by Roosevelt. Paige Gallimore on the drive. Throws it towards the basket and gets hit.
Markovic, what did I do? Catching her arm and pulling it down, and
that'll do it.
Still, how many passes were made in that offensive possession? None?
Not since the backcourt. Gallimore took it all the way down. She misses the first free throw. Paige Gallimore, the only senior on the Roosevelt roster. This is a young team and one that has improved dramatically already from where they've been the last few years. Gallimore misses both free throws. This Lakers squad is certainly one that figures to be in the running for CCAC crowns the next couple of years.
Well, now they're playing the man-to-man, coming out of that zone, which St. Francis had been picking apart.
Paige Gieske over to Ivana Markovic, 5 to shoot. Markovic drives, shovels it off to Aylward, jumper, no.
And again, that shot clock down and a good offensive possession. St. Francis just not able to get the shot to go down.
Quick shot for Smolk, but this time it falls.
Well, this is their run. You can feel it coming right now. This is their run, so St. Francis is going to have to respond.
Caitlin Aylward taking her time on the offensive end. 10 seconds off the shot clock already. Here's Aylward pulling up, getting it outside to Markovic. 7 to shoot. Gieske. Kamari Jordan's been quiet of late. Gets it inside to Caitlin Aylward, who's called for the offensive foul.
That was a nice flop. That was a nice flop, and they got the benefit of the call. You could tell by the way she went down that she was flopping, and did a nice job of selling it to the official.
Allie Hernandez checks in for St. Francis, first appearance today for the sophomore guard. Kamari Jordan will get a rest. Ready yourself for the stretch run here.
Kamari Jordan ain't going to be out for long.
Foul called, I think, on Caitlin Aylward away from the ball, and that's her 5th. She picked up the last 2 in just the last 10 seconds. And so Aylward is done. Cody Brand comes in, and Brand was already at the scorer's table waiting to come in for Caitlin at the next whistle.
Yeah, you did not want to see Caitlin Aylward go out. She'd been the key scoring, one of the key scoring threats for St. Francis, and you take that piece of the puzzle out of the lineup for them, and that's a huge loss.
So Aylward's done for the day. 15 points for her. And now a foul called on Allie Hernandez. That sends Paige Gallimore to the line for 2 shots, and the Lakers will be in the bonus the rest of the way.
Well, one of the players that's picked it up for St. Francis today has been Paige Gieske, and now she'll need to do that a little bit more at the offensive end for them.
Hernandez checks out. She was in there just for a few seconds, giving Kamari Jordan a quick breather.
I like that kind of coaching. Just that 15, 20 seconds, 30 seconds can make a big difference.
Especially with Aylward out now for the game after fouling out. Steve Brooks wanted to get Kamari Jordan right back on the floor as quickly as possible. 11-point lead for the Saints. It's Gieske. Looking inside, can't find Cody Brand, and a foul is called.
Gieske looking at that pass because that's where her teammate was supposed to be. The problem was the defense played it well.
Brand picks up her first foul and sends the Lakers right back to the free throw line, and Roosevelt still hasn't really gotten going offensively, but they're at a point in the game now where they're getting back into it from the line. First free throw is good from Albert, and it's just a 10-point game now.
And again, you could feel that run coming for Roosevelt, and you knew they were going to make it at some point. And Now St. Francis with the foul. The last thing you want to do is stop the clock from running.
8 points for Jasmine Albert. 49-40, final 4 minutes of the game. Cody Brand out to Nicole Davidson. Back to Brand, shot clock at 10. Here's Kamari Jordan trying to make something happen with 5 to shoot. Jordan pulls up inside, throws it towards the rim.
How about
good,
the
but
rebound?
Another offensive board for Nicole Davidson.
Unbelievable. Great play by Davidson.
A timeout called by St. Francis. I believe that is now double-digit offensive boards for Davidson and over 15 for the game. Full timeout called by St. Francis.
And what's unusual about that is usually Roosevelt, very good rebounding team, but St. Francis really doing a nice job at the offensive end of the court, getting offensive rebounds throughout this contest.
The Lakers this season out rebounding their opponents by about 2 per game, but Saints have dominated the boards today. That's been a big part of their 9-point lead with 3:28 to go. Remember that you can stream all St. Francis home basketball games live online to the USF YouTube channel, or you just go to GoFightingSaints.com, click on the video link next to the game you want to watch under the upcoming events tab. And we've got plenty of them coming up as both the men's and the women's team close up their seasons with 5 of their last 7 games here at home, and it should be an exciting end to the season, particularly for this women's basketball team that is now 3.5 minutes away from improving to 11-3 in conference this year.
Well, what they have to hope is that Olivet will get knocked off in one of these games, because you look, and St. Francis with a good opportunity to win everything up to that Olivet game and then that big game. Now they're 2 down to Olivet in the conference, so if they can beat Olivet, that's 1, and if they can have somebody else beat Olivet, that would put them in a tie for the, that second place slot in the tournament.
That big game between St. Francis and Olivet coming up here on Wednesday night, February 14th, but plenty of potential roadblocks between now and then. So we won't look too far ahead right now. 9-point lead for the Saints late in this one.
No, they still have to win this basketball game.
Caitlin Aylward has fouled out. Saints leading scorer this season, so a little bit extra falls on Kamari Jordan's shoulders as she gives it off to Nicole Davidson, and Davidson hits the jumper.
Nice offense, and that time Jordan really making the right decision to kick the ball back, and Davidson knocking down the 15-footer.
Nicole Davidson has just 8 points in the game, but probably playing the best game of the season for her.
Yeah, she has looked outstanding in this contest, and St. Francis with some great benefits from Gieske today, who's played very well.
Roosevelt calls a timeout. I don't have the updated total on Davidson, but she's nearing 20 rebounds for the game right now. She's just had an incredible effort, a huge part of keeping the team in the game, especially early when they weren't shooting well. And here in this second half, they've been clicking on all cylinders.
Yeah, they really have. They've done a nice job at the offensive end, and it'll be interesting when Coach looks back at the game for St. Francis, Steve Brooks, and sees how many possessions went down to 5 seconds and under on the shot clock. I think he's going to be pretty happy about that part of the game, using that shot clock to their advantage.
Just 2:51 to go here. Saints trying to close it out. Roosevelt has the ball with 13 seconds on the shot clock. The Lakers are trying to avoid their 4th consecutive loss. Ashley Smolt to inbound here and gets it into Becca Bergman.
Well, Roosevelt with that one stretch where the wheels just came off, and they've been playing catch-up ever since then.
Crippen trying to get it to Gallimore. It's deflected out of bounds. It'll stay with Roosevelt. 6 to shoot for Bergman and company. Chelsea Crippen to the hoop. In and out, gets her own rebound, and this time she's able to score.
Nice job with Crippen staying with it. And you can kind of see the Saints' lack of a center when you watch Crippen and some of the things she's been able to do. Kamari Jordan just stopping on the dime there and kind of giving a look to her opponent like, yeah, I'm a veteran. I've been here a while.
These two teams are just playing at completely different speeds right now, and really have been all game. Saints very methodical on offense. 3 on the shot clock. This is Davidson inside. Turnaround, banks it in.
That's just beautiful offense. You love the fact that they're getting the ball into the post consistently.
Double-double for Nicole Davidson, the junior forward, and a foul called on the other end of the floor. 2 shots coming up for the Lakers and Ashley Smolt.
So often teams will just settle for 3-point shots, settle, and St. Francis really looking to pound the ball down low and take advantage of their size advantage, and they have done that throughout this second half.
First shot good for Smolt. It's just the first foul on Paige Gieske. Lindsey Cox back in for Emily Duckhorn for the Lakers. Roosevelt with a 14-9 record prior to their last game. Even their 8 losses, they had kept extremely close as the second free throw misses. They got blown out in their last game by Indiana South Bend, and credit to them today for going down double digits in the second half. They have not made it easy for St. Francis here.
No, they're the kind of team that you never have a big enough lead against.
Shot clock down to 10.
But against a St. Francis team that uses the shot clock so well, if St. Francis is up by 6, that's like being in double digits because they're so methodical, and it's hard to come back against a team like that.
Traveling the call there as Kamari Jordan lifted her pivot foot. Duckhorn back in for offense. Emily Duckhorn, an excellent 3-point shooter, entered play today, shooting 39% for the year, but she's only gotten 1 clean look all game. Chelsea Crippen all alone scores and 1 as Davidson has slipped on the defensive side, and it frees up Crippen for a chance now to 3-point play.
Well, that's the last thing you want right there is a foul off what was a missed defensive assignment essentially, and now you're giving them a chance to cut into that lead further with the shot clock, with the clock stopped. And Crippen is the one who's done the damage here in the second half for Roosevelt.
13 points in the game now for Chelsea Crippen, just a 4-point per game scorer coming in. And she commits the foul on Cody Brand here. Brand, not a great free throw shooter. That was just the 4th rather on the team. So that won't send her to the line just yet.
Now you want to get your free throw shooters in right now. They're going to have to do some doubling here. Look to double, look to trap, and here comes the double.
Markovic is hit by Crippen. They picked up their 4th foul quickly to put St. Francis in the bonus, and I think they wanted to get the ball back into the hands of Cody Brand. The defense wanted St. Francis to get the ball back in the hands of Cody Brand, but they end up fouling Ivana Markovic, a better shooter, although she misses the first one here. Markovic at 75% for the year. 1 of 2 on this possession. The lead is back to 8.
Now this is the big possession for Roosevelt. They have to score this time down with the amount of time left on the clock.
Lindsey Cox is able to free herself up for open layup, and it's a 2-possession game with 57 seconds left. Kamari Jordan hit by Gallimore, and she'll go to the line for 2.
If I believe Kamari Jordan shooting about 88% from the free throw line.
62 of 75 for the year. It's 83%.
83? That was close.
Right there, yeah. Still feel pretty comfortable with her out there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at Allie Hernandez. She's 88%.
Jordan hits on the first. Leah Sims is in for Cody Brand.
Getting Sims in for defensive purposes, a little more quickness on the court defensively.
Eight-point lead once again for St. Francis. Timeout called by the Lakers. 53 seconds left. Won a long way from over, but St. Francis has got to be feeling good about a 3-score lead in the final minute.
Now this one ain't over yet. This game changes so quickly. You think about the Ohio State and Penn State game the other night, and wow, what an ending to that game. Penn State winning it on a 3 at the buzzer. You think about St. Francis and Roosevelt playing earlier this year. 1 second left on the clock, and St. Francis wins it on the 3 at the buzzer. So this ain't over till it's over. And as dysfunctional as Roosevelt looked at stretches here in the second half, they're fortunate to be within 8 points. And the other positive thing for them is Aylward is out right now.
We talked a lot during today's game about the different styles of play for these two teams. St. Francis likes to slow things down. Roosevelt likes to get up and down the floor. I think if we talked about it before the game, we heard there's going to be 104 total points scored. With 53 seconds left, you probably feel like St. Francis is in pretty good shape, and that's what's been the case.
Yeah, this again, when you're down 6, 8 points to St. Francis team, they're so methodical offensively that's like trying to make up a 12, 14 point gap. Now, with the time down to 52 seconds, Roosevelt has to foul or double team and try to create havoc in the court here so they can get back into this one.
Lakers need a bucket here. It's Becca Bergman on the drive. It's blocked and out of bounds. Last touched by Roosevelt.
How about the defensive play, sliding in front of the offensive player, doesn't touch her, but changes her rhythm going to the basket and creates that turnover.
Allie Hernandez in for Leah Sims, that 88% free throw shooter that Mike was just talking about, draws the foul. So Hernandez will get 2 shots here and try to put this thing away. 56-48, 46 seconds to play.
And Hernandez is the one 8 for 9 from the free throw line, 88%.
She's up to 90% after that one, 57-48.
One of the things I've really liked about Steve Brooks and his staff, they've used their substitutions very well throughout this game, just getting players a 30-second rest here, a 20-second rest there. And because St. Francis doesn't play a lot of people, those 20, 30-second breathers help you towards the end of the game.
Lakers call another timeout. It's a 10-point game now with 46 seconds left, so they are in full-on desperation mode right now. We look ahead a little bit on Wednesday. St. Francis back at it. 5 o'clock start time right here at the Sullivan Center, and they'll be taking on the Wolves of Cardinal Stritch, another team that's right there with Roosevelt in the middle of the pack in the CCAC this year. 7-6 record. Bit of a disappointing year in some regards based on expectations for Cardinal Stritch, but it's a tough stretch of basketball right now against Roosevelt and Cardinal Stritch back-to-back, and good chance for St. Francis to really establish themselves.
It really is, and you look at the Kamari Jordan, who's been through this before. So many of these St. Francis players having been to the national tournament, having been at the top of the conference, having been part of an undefeated team, and that benefits you when you get into this crunch time of the season.
Saints back on the floor with Sims, Markovic, Davidson, Gieske, and Jordan on defense. Duckhorn, Gallimore, Crippen, Bergman, and Cox on the floor for the offense.
I'll see if the ball ends up inside with Crippen.
This is Becca Bergman. Giving it off to Lindsey Cox. Cox will take a step. The runner, no. Rebound to Nicole Davidson. And Davidson draws the foul, and very fitting. Another rebound for Nicole Davidson may have just been the final nail in the coffin.
You have to think it's going to be tough to come back from where Roosevelt is now. They needed that shot to go down. Nicole Davidson just been all everything out there, and a heck of a game for her. And you like what Paige Gieske did in this game as well.
Davidson having maybe the best game she's ever played at St. Francis, and trying to cap it off with a couple of free throws right here. She's got the first 11 points in the game. 59-48. One more shot coming for the junior Nicole Davidson. She's got 12 points. Roosevelt needs to run here.
Like the little token pressure.
Smolt is fouled by Paige Gieske. Keeping just a flicker of hope alive for the Lakers. Smolt gets to go to the free throw line.
Well, it's a small flicker. 27 seconds left in this one. St. Francis secures any kind of miss.
First free throw, no good from Ashley Smolt.
And this one will be over with.
She hits the second. We'll see if Roosevelt continues to foul here, down by 11. Kamari Jordan is wrapped up by Lindsey Cox, and they'll send her back to the free throw line.
Boy, Kamari Jordan is not going to be easy to replace. You look at the way she handles the basketball, it's like it's on a string.
Jordan, 4-year player here at St. Francis, led the nation in three-point shooting 3 years ago. On the verge of becoming the Saints' all-time leading three-point shooter, and a very different role on the team this year with so much talent departing from the #1 team a year ago.
Well, how well has St. Francis played defensively? You look at Roosevelt, they average 72 points a game. They're at 49.
It's now a 5-score game as Jordan makes both free throws, so that should be about all as Lindsey Cox misses on the three-pointer. Paige Gieske comes down with the rebound, and Nicole Davidson will run out the clock. Davidson wanted, I think, 2 more points, and Steve Brooks yelling at her from the sideline.
No. He's waving his arms.
So there it is, the final 62-49. St. Francis defeats Roosevelt to go 2-0 against the Lakers this year. And that may not be all. We may see the Lakers once more in the conference tournament, but it's got to feel good to get a relatively decisive win today after that crazy finish at Roosevelt a couple of months ago. This one a little bit more convincing.
Yeah, they really played well, especially the second half. Got off to a nice start, but then went through a kind of a flat stretch there, and then just got it going offensively after that. And from that point on, this one was pretty decisive once they had that nice run in the second half.
The offense really didn't get going until the final minute of the second quarter. They were at 20 points for the first 19 minutes of the game, and then suddenly the switch flipped. They hit a couple of three-pointers late in the first half, and like you said, the run they went on early in the second half pretty much put it away right there.
Well, they figured out that 2-3 defense of Roosevelt, and they were just kept pounding the ball down low, running time off the shot clock, and you could just see Roosevelt's energy getting zapped as the game went on because of the number of times St. Francis ran it down to the buzzer.
We're going to get some final stats in a few minutes, and we'll try to get Steve Brook over here for a post-game interview as well. Again, our final score today, 62-49. St. Francis comes away with the win. They improve to 15-7 overall as they pick up their 3rd consecutive victory, now 11-3 in conference. Roosevelt drops their 4th straight. They fall to 14-10 and 7-7, and we are now joined by Steve Brooks. Coach, we were just talking about it. Offense a little bit slow to get going today, but you really hit that switch around halftime. What do you think the difference was in the second half?
Well, I think we came out and focused. I don't think we had a real strong focus to start the game, unfortunately. But I think in the second half, we may have gotten their attention a little bit at halftime. And if we didn't, they did. And they came out with a little more purpose and a little more focus. We made a couple subtle changes, but nothing drastic. I just felt like we moved the ball better and we moved our bodies better.
Coach, you look at that second half stretch when you really got things going offensively, and we were talking about how many times the shot clock went down to 5 seconds, 3 seconds, and you guys were scoring consistently. Part of the game plan, part of the thing you like to do offensively?
I don't necessarily want it to go all the way down, but I do want us to get it the best shot. And I think in the first half we were settling. One pass and somebody shoot it, and that's not what we want. That's not how we're going to beat the best team. And we did a better job of being selective in the second half.
It'll be interesting to see if when you look back at the game, Phil, when you look at that, just how many times. Also the rebounding and the other thing, Paige Gieske. How about we thought she had a great game just stepping it up with a little extra scoring today.
No doubt about it. When she puts her mind to go to the basket and get to the rim, she can do that with anybody. And we were not reading the mismatch in the first half. Second half, we saw the mismatch and we were able to take advantage of it.
Coach, congrats on the win. We'll let you get back to the team.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you.
Steve Brooks of the victorious Fighting Saints, 62-49. Our final score today, and we've been handed some final stats here. We talked about the great performance of Nicole Davidson today, 12 points, 17 rebounds for her. Paige Gieske finished with 7 points. Kamari Jordan, 16. Caitlin Aylward, 15. So a good balanced attack. A lot of players had really nice games today.
Well, you saw players come off the bench and pick it up. Kennedy hitting that nice 3 for St. Francis, kind of giving them a little lift when they needed it. Gieske having a solid game, and just a good all-around performance after they got out of that little funk that they went through in the second quarter, or the first quarter.
Mike, let's wrap this thing up. Our final thoughts on today's game. Big win for the Saints, 11-3 in conference now, and they're still not quite at full strength, but they're starting to really come together as a team.
Well, you like the rhythm they're starting to play with. You saw it in this game, just that rhythm offensively, what they were doing defensively, and you saw some good things. And hey, it's the last go-around for Kamari Jordan, so she wants to go out, you know, with a bang here, and you're starting to see those things happen for the Saints.
That's going to do it for our broadcast today. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed the 62-49 St. Francis victory over the visiting Lakers of Roosevelt. Saints are back at it this coming Wednesday, and as always, you can catch every St. Francis home game this year through the USF YouTube channel or through GoFightingSaints.com. So hopefully you're with us this coming Wednesday against Cardinal Stritch. And remember, St. Francis men against Roosevelt men coming up in about 20 minutes as well. Again, our final score today, St. Francis 62-49 over the Roosevelt Lakers. Until next time, for Mike Zaworski and the entire crew here at St. Francis, I'm Terry Bonadonna signing off. Talk to you next time.